The Eagle prophecy unfolding. Hidden books plus Iran war. What's going on, everybody? It's TGC Ministries, the Genesis Congregation. Back at y'all with another one is Priest Hakah. Yes, sir. You heard it right. Joined by my beloved brother Chased.
I said, Assad, what's going on, everybody? All praises to the Most High. We're getting ready to go into some dope information. If you guys are sleeping under a rock, you know that the president of the United States, there was an assassination attempt on his life. Again, this is, I believe, the third one that took place last night at a correspondence dinner. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about some current events. The Iran war is still looking like it's going to get back in brewing. And, you know, we're going to go into, of course, the Bible, show you where we are in terms of the prophetic timeline, how close we are to the end, and give y'all some history. So make sure y'all tune in, get y'all pen and pad out, like and share the video. All praises to the Most High.
That's right, y'all. Man, listen, watch. Feed the sheep. What did the Lord say? If you love me, feed my sheep. Feed my sheep, feed my sheep. That's what it's all about, y'all. The edification of the body of Yeshua. Edification of the body of the Messiah. That's what it's about. Edification. Feeding the sheep. And he commanded us to watch and prophesy. So as I am sharing this link everywhere right now on all my social media platforms and publication pages, I would like to see you guys doing so as well. Hit that like button because it ain't going to cost you nothing. And if you ring that notification bell, it'll do you well.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, I was seeing that one coming.
Now, if you guys haven't been keeping up with the channel, we got a lot of this is the new channel. I know certain brothers and sisters was like, oh my God, I'm so happy I found you. I'm so happy I found you guys. I didn't know where you guys went. TGC is the new channel. It's the wave. It's the big G's. And that's the only thing that's going on in the earth. You understand that? So you see the thumbnail. Take a look at the thumbnail. Pay close attention. You see the eagle here. This eagle is in prophecy. What did the eagle represent? The end of the eagle represents the America, but the beginning of the eagle is the Roman Empire. Well, how does that correlate? Because the America is the revised Roman Empire and a literal extension of that empire, of that kingdom. You see Iran, you see missiles flying. Isn't it ironic that we're hearing about a lot of this war, but we're not seeing a lot of the damage that is being done? Certain brothers, even Israelite camp leaders, are posting old videos from Desert Storm and, positing as if that's going on in Iran right now. But the reason why is because it's an embarrassment. It's a shame that's going on with America. Their image is being tarnished right now as being the big bad bully because they can't show footage of them just doing whatever they want and having their way with Iran. One of the reasons is Iran has the capability to fight back. Iran has the capacity to cause casualties on the other side. Iran is being aided by Russia and China and others. So this is why it's going to be a tough task, a daunting task. I like to call it a Herculean task for America. America can just go in there and have their way with the strait or the people or that land. And we also talked about the greater Israel agenda. The greater Israel agenda, how they want to try to fulfill the prophecy as if they are the people. I want to play a couple of clips too. We're going to get into the spirit tonight through the spirit of the Most High. I promise you that. Let me find this clip. Speak real quick. Somebody sent me this.
And while you do that, I'm about to go into this quick little article. This is via NPR. It says prospects of a ceasefire with Iran collapse as Trump calls off trip by U.S. officials. This is April 26th. Today's date is the 26th. Okay, so this is 8 a.m. So about 12 hours ago. So this came out today. Prospect of new Iran-U.S. ceasefire talks this weekend collapse as President Trump cancels U.S. delegation's trip to the meeting and Iran consults with allies. So if there was anybody that was hoping that this would, there would be an agreement made because of the prior agreements of a continued ceasefire, those things are getting ready to crumble. And if you've been paying attention, Iranian media has reported, look, we're not budging on this. They last week, sometime later in the week, said that they're not even going to show up. And Trump is basically lying and saying, no, everything's going great. We're right there getting ready to make a deal. Do you guys remember that? I think we did a class on that about a week ago. And Trump was saying, look, we're right here about to make a deal. And the economy went great. Oil prices went down. Things were looking great. And then they had the meeting and nothing happens. And then he said he's going to get ready to blow up everything. He said he's going to end the civilization. And then he said, you know what, on second thought, let's extend the peace treaty a little bit further. But now, Iran said we're not even going to continue. We're done having. We had the one peace treaty hearing. We're not doing that again. And so now the United States is saying, okay, well, then we're not going to talk either. So it says another issue President Trump is dealing with is the war in Iran. The prospect of new ceasefire talks over the weekend between the United States and Iran collapsed as Iran's foreign minister left Pakistan to consult with allies, and President Trump called off a trip by U.S. officials who were supposed to go to the negotiations. NPR's Jane Araf joins us now from Amman, Jordan, and then, here's a transcript from the actual interview that was conducted. So the point is, there are no more, at this point, from what both sides have communicated, there are no more negotiations that are going to continue. Now, at this point, we can't really trust what Trump says, nor anybody in his cabinet. But what they've said in the past is that if an agreement is not made, that they would target their oil fields, they would blow up I can't remember the name of the islands. I'm sick, so I can't remember. That's near the Strait of Hormuz, in the Strait of Hormuz, that they would target power plants, water refinery areas, that they would destroy those things, that they would, quote, end the whole civilization. Now, do I see him doing that tomorrow or at the end of the day when the ceasefire ceases? I don't know. I don't take him to be a truther, but it would certainly serve in the nation of Israel's, their best interest. So who knows what will happen? They're currently, ironically, they just broke their peace treaty with Lebanon. So anyway, I don't want to take up too much time. You wanted to go into something?
No. Somebody sent me, it's a clip, and because you guys send me so many clips, I can't even find this. It's a clip of Israel saying that, oh my goodness, bro.
What they say?
They're saying that there's some Israelis, some Jewish in the Jewish community in Israel, saying that they do not support the state of Israel, and they're saying the state of Israel is not prophecy. They're saying that the Messiah has to come and establish their sovereignty and autonomy, and it's this white Jewish dude with a long beard. Y'all send me so much content everywhere that now I can't find. I have to find it, bro. I have to.
Okay, that's fine. I'll go into a couple more.
Give me a couple more.
Yeah, you're good. So, and again, like I said, yesterday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu orders military to launch forceful strikes on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. Yet, let's take a look. This is via the United States government. This is what state.gov. Okay, so 10-day cessation of hostilities to enable peace negotiations between Israel and Lebanon. Now, look at the date, April 16th, 2026. So then you can read this. I'll read a little bit of it. It says, the text of the following statement was agreed to by the government of Israel and government of Lebanon. Following productive direct talks on April 14th between the governments of the Republic of Lebanon and the State of Israel, brokered by the United States of America, Lebanon, and Israel, have reached an understanding in which both nations will work to create conditions conducive to lasting peace between the two countries. So they had an almost 2-week agreement on peace. Well, less than 10 days, like a day before the peace treaty would end, because it would have ended, of course, today. That would be 10 days. Well, it ended tomorrow, as a matter of fact. That would, if it's 10 days long, that means it ends on the 11th day. So 2 days before the peace treaty is supposed to end, the prime minister of Israel ordered a military launch on Hezbollah in Lebanon. So there's nothing surprising here. You guys shouldn't be surprised. Oh my God, how could they do this? How could they agree to peace and then bombard people? We're talking about, again, a regime who, the reason why they're even conducting this war and several wars throughout their recent history is to try to get natural resources from somebody. Is to try to steal land. And in the case of Israel, it's two birds, one stone. They're basically doing the exact same thing. Israel's like a baby America, but unfortunately they're kind of controlling America. So is America a baby Israel? Nonetheless, the point is, Israel wants land. They want land and they want resources. This goes back into what the brother was saying earlier with the Greater Israel plan, which is that they want to realize the land from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is why they went to war against Egypt. They're currently at war against Iran. They said, after we're done with Iran, we need to go to war with basically Turkey. All these various countries that ironically have borders in, or at least extremely near to, Greater Israel, Israel has gone to war with. Is that supposed to be some type of a coinkydink? I think not. Mm-hmm. So that's going on right now, as well as Trump basically saying we're getting ready, we might go to war. Trump said yesterday the United States has all the cards in the negotiations with Iran, and they have none. So
that's a lie. Okay. So if whoever sent that to me, hopefully they're watching. And if they're not watching, then okay. All right, so we'll just pick back up on that. So let's talk about this, y'all. Let's talk about this. Why do they always like to make the black man the face of terrorism? Why? Now, this is the alleged shooter from the White House. This is the alleged shooter. Man, he doesn't have a beard on. I wouldn't be surprised, though, everybody, if they try to say, he has some Israelite flyer in his pocket. This red herring false flag, because if you just look at, I was watching it last night. If you just look at the video, how did he even survive? Did he let off a shot? Or they said he had a bulletproof vest on, but it's crazy work, this guy.
From Torrance, California, according to our sources. The sources, I'm going to try to be very specific here, is identified as Cole Allen, again, from Torrance, California. As we have been told by various sources and by the Attorney General of the United States, search warrants are being executed at residents associated with this man. They're also at his hotel room, obviously, checking and going through any items they can find there. Again, he's been charged with multiple counts, including assaulting a federal officer and using a weapon in the commission of a crime. Law enforcement.
So you mean to tell me he shot a gun in or around the White House and survived?
Officials are expected to do a deep dive. Right now, the DC police are saying
no, not in the White. This is not in the White House.
Where was it at?
This is at a dinner at I think some hotel. It's not at the White House.
Okay. Either way, you shot at Secret Service and you survived.
Again,
allegedly.
This is early in the investigation. They are going to look at every bit of social media activity, if he had any.
Okay, so that was, now this is new right here, though. This is from about an hour ago. So let's take a listen. Fair use. This is our thoughts and comments on this content.
Well, the suspected gunman, Cole Allen, will appear in a federal courtroom tomorrow. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche says it was likely President Trump that he was targeting, along with administration officials during last night's shooting. Let's bring in Bill Malugin. He's got more on this. I mean, it really is kind of a fascinating thing, Bill. You and I were both there. Yeah. You were at the same table John Roberts was talking earlier. You were at the same table that John Roberts was at. And
did you see Dana White? Dana White was like, let me fast forward to.
Right now, we don't have any specifics beyond that.
Now, the White House tells Fox that Allen had previously attended a No Kings protest in California, and his family had actually notified police about a manifesto he had sent to them prior to this attack. His sister reportedly told investigators during an interview that he frequently made radical statements and planned to, quote, do something. Now, last night, Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. attorney here in Washington, announced that Cole has been charged with using a firearm during a crime of violence, as well as assault on a federal officer with a dangerous weapon. He is scheduled to make his first appearance in federal court sometime tomorrow, Trace.
The unclear thing for me, Bill, and maybe you have information because I haven't been able to find it, is they notified police in New London, Connecticut,
yes.
Right? So New London, Connecticut, the family does not live in New London, Connecticut. We don't know. I mean, we're saying.
The point is, could this have happened? Yes. I'm not going to be like the rest of our people who make up some crazy conspiratorial theories. But is it reeking of false flag? Absolutely. Could it have happened? Absolutely too. But just knowing the pattern in history of, you know, America and their agent provocateurs and crisis actors, we can see something like this happening, especially if you want to take attention off of what the elephant in the room is, which is the Iran war. And so, yeah, could this have happened? Yes, but this is also too for them to try to invoke or implement a gag order, a social media gag order, take away the freedom of speech. I know somebody told me, I know a sister up in Canada, actually, who said certain places in Canada, you can't even read certain parts of the Bible. So, of course, they want to try to take away freedom of speech. And I'm not saying that we get to just say whatever we want to say on social media and be reckless and negligent with our words. That's not what I'm saying. We don't know his racial statements. Maybe I can find some. You was going to say something?
Well, it's not only that, too. I mean, think about it. We're living in a time in which the president of the United States are in files linked to Jeffrey Epstein, who I can't even, his crimes are so horrific, I can't even speak on them on this platform. The president then tried to say, remember, he tried to get votes by saying, yeah, if you guys elect me as president, I'll release the Epstein files. You got president, he's like, man, who you guys talking about the Epstein files? If you guys keep asking me about the Epstein files, don't even support me. I don't care about you guys. And then they suppressed it. If you guys remember, Elon Musk and Trump were feuding. And in part of their feuding, Elon Musk tweeted, the reason why Donald Trump will not release the Epstein files is because he is in them. That's what Elon Musk said. Now, ironically, Elon Musk is also in the Epstein files, but
they're telling on each other.
Yeah. So all that is going on. All that is going on as just a big distraction. Now, could this guy have been a so-called vigilante and just tried to? Because if you read his manifesto, he basically says, in so many words, the reason why he's doing this is because he, as an American citizen, his tax dollars go towards a regime and individuals within that regime who are they do things with children. They forcefully lay with women. We know what 2 words I'm not going to use. And so he wanted to take them out. That's literally what this guy said in his manifesto as to, his justification as to why he did this. So thought that was interesting.
Now, even though this happened, I want to go into this because duality and prophecy. And all scholars would agree that Jeremiah 49:10 happened around the time of the Babylonian conquest of the Levant. Okay, here's a teaching moment. Let me get a teaching moment here. All right, let me get a teaching moment. Jeremiah 49. Verse 7, concerning Edom, it says, thus saith the Lord of hosts. Now, I'm going to tell you guys how this was fulfilled during the time of Nebuchadnezzar, but how this is this same scheme, the same spirit, the same characteristics, the same plot, the same grimy ways that Esau had back then. Of course, he has now, turning on each other, always doing things clandestinely and surreptitiously, just in secret, and then getting exposed, and then whistleblowers, like Hassan was saying, Elon Musk saying, okay, he's in the Epstein, and then Elon ends up being in the Epstein, and then that's why Obadiah also says, the men who are at peace with thee, who you were confederate with, you guys are now exposing each other. This happens throughout history. It's cyclical with Esau. All right. Cuz Torah, Torah, my brother, cuz for the super chat donation, greatly appreciate you. Everybody got played with ISIS. Government paid actors paid to write. Yeah. Bars, y'all, bars. You got to know, you got to have the album. But look what this says in Jeremiah 49:7 concerning Edom. Now, there are a lot of new people who watch this channel who may not be familiar with our position on who the Edomites are today. We still hold to the position that the Edomites, the biblical Edomites today, are by and large who you identify as Caucasians. And we can prove that with history, archaeology, and prophecy. Now, if you don't hold to that, it's all right. It's fine. I'm not going to call you out your name. I'm not going to disrespect you. So verse 7 says, concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Well, there are wise people. We cannot act like, of course, they stole a lot of inventions and stole the patterns and stole ideas, and they catapulted to the top by way of destruction and trickery and evil and thievery. But they also have contributed to advanced technology from back then even till now. This is why it's talking about the wisdom in Teman. Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? So back then, even they had wise counsel back then. This would have been 500 to 600 BC. But they were getting destroyed, and they were getting exploited. Some of them even went into captivity, and also majority of them were exiled during the time of the Babylonian conquest. That's why it says, flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan. For I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. This happened with Nebuchadnezzar. Then he's going to tell you how the description of their calamity in verse 9. If grape gatherers come to thee, will they not leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they have enough. So he's saying that if people go and gather grapes, like when when I was young, we would pick blackberries and make a blackberry pie, but we wouldn't pick all the blackberries. We would leave some there. I think that's a law in Torah as well. When you get the free fruit from somebody's vineyard, don't pick it all. I believe that's a law. But the Most High is telling Esau, look, there's going to be some people. You guys are the grapes. And the grape gatherers, they usually leave some grapes behind on the vine. But these grape gatherers, they're going to just spoil and take everything. And that's what happened during the time of Nebuchadnezzar with the Edomites. Now look what it says. Verse 10, but I have made Esau bare. So we're not just going to leave any grapes for them. He's going to make them bare. And here's the key part that I was that I even came here for. Because Esau tells on himself, the white man tells on himself, the white man turns against each other. It's just like Leviathan. Leviathan, that sea monster, that serpentine wreath-like animal that bites its own tail. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places. This is why when we were coming into the faith, everybody who I knew around my time were talking about secret society, Illuminati, skull and bones, masonry. This was the time during 2006 to 2008 where everybody were into that, researching that, going into it. We had white whistleblowers exposing these secret societies. This is what it means when it says, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. We know the plot, we know the play, we know the plan. That's for us who is in the know. But the sheeple, as we call them, they don't understand. They're like a sheep led to the slaughter. So they're not in the know on Esau's wickedness. It says his seed is spoiled, meaning they're going to get polluted, or rather looted, excuse me, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. So back then, when this invasion happened, they would be done so bad as far as, their conquest, that it would be like they were nothing, they were no more. So this is the time period where they then move from the land of Edom to Europe into Greece, and they start assuming the identity of the Greeks, which is where you get Philip the Macedonian, and then Alexander the Greek. That's when they get over there in Europe because they got plundered so bad during this time. Let me continue, because there's another specific verse that I wanted to. Okay, it says, leave thy fatherless children. I will preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me. So not all of them would be destroyed, but very catastrophic event where it's like only women and children will be left behind. Verse 12, for thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? So because we are brothers with Esau, they weren't supposed to help the Babylonians in destroying us. So you might say, wait a second, how are the Babylonians destroying us and Esau, but Esau's helping the Babylonians destroy us? It's very simple. There was 3 waves of the Babylonian invasion. There was 605, I want to say 599, and then 586. So there's 3 waves. And some of the waves they were helping, and then that judgment then came to them. So it says, thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. So they have to drink of the cup that's in Nebuchadnezzar's hand. For I have sworn by myself, said the Lord, that Bosra shall become a desolation. This is what will happen to ancient Edom, a reproach, a waste, and a curse. And if you go there today, look what it says. Therefore it shall be a perpetual waste. Nobody's living and thriving in Bosra. So again, I just wanted to go here, and I'm gonna keep reading, but I want you guys to not drift off. Going here to show that Esau exposes himself, and he's always been a secret society, clandestine snake. But other Edomites expose each other, right? So it says, verse 14, I have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent unto the heathen. Who's this ambassador? Saying, gather ye together and come against her and rise up in battle. These ambassadors are really the prophets. It could be Jeremiah, but the prophets in general prophesy against all the nations, not just Israel. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. That's how catastrophic their destruction would be back then with Nebuchadnezzar. What happened here? Hold on. And that verse 15. So that's how catastrophic it would be, that they would be made small among the heathen. Some would say, oh, this means insignificant. It can't mean insignificant. I mean, the Caucasian race is not insignificant. They're the hegemony of the world and despised among men. Well, they are despised among all nations. That's the one thing all nations do have in common, all the nations of color. They can say, hey, that's the devil. How do you say devil in Arabic? I'm sure that's what the Arabs are chanting. Verse 16, thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart, O that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks. That's what Petra was. If you look up Petra, let me see. Petra. Here we go. Look at this. So when it says the clefts of the rocks, this is how Edomites lived in Petra. High in the caves. Very high in the caves. A mountainous troglodyte people. A mountainous troglodyte people. So that's what it means by clefts in the rocks. Thou that holdest the height of the hill. It's hard to attack them. Why? They're in those cave-like structures. Though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle. Those Petra caves were very high. I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord. Also Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished and shall hiss. This is all letting us know when this was fulfilled. And shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. As in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. Now, this is, of course, hyperbolic. You can go and visit Petra, but ain't nobody living and thriving there, and it's just not that, because Most High promised that it would be destroyed. Behold, he shall come. Now, watch this. This is further proof. Behold, he shall come. What was the part I was looking for? I'm going to continue to read just until 22. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of the Jordan. Who's the he here? Let's get some audience participation. Who is the he? This should be easy. I gave the context in the setting. Who is the he coming up like a lion from by the river of Jordan, against the land of Edom? Let me get a different translation. That'll give some help. What is that? 19? Yeah. We're doing prophecy all night. Somebody said the Messiah. No, it can't be Yeshua, because this is not end time prophecy. The setting is Babylon, 500-ish, around 500 to 600 BC. That's the setting. So let me zoom in here. Look at the NIV. Like a lion coming up from Jordan's thicket to a rich pasture land, I will chase Edom from its land in an instant. So the Edomites are in the land when this happens, letting you know that the setting for Jeremiah 49 has been fulfilled, but can there be end-time application? Yes. Look at the NLT. I will come like a lion. How is the Most High coming? Through Nebuchadnezzar. That's how he battles. That's how he implements his agenda, by having a nation destroy another nation. I will come up like a lion from the thickets of the Jordan, leaping upon the sheep in the pasture. I will chase Edom from its land, and I will appoint the leader of my choice. Now that is so he's saying he's going to do this through Nebuchadnezzar. He's literally saying that. So when we go back to Jeremiah 49 in the KJV, The Edomites are being chased from their land via Nebuchadnezzar. And it says, for who is like me, and who will appoint me the time, and who is that shepherd that will stand before me? We know this was fulfilled with Nebuchadnezzar. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he had taken against Edom, and his purposes that he had proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Now, can I tell you guys something about, let me tell you guys something about scriptures Hebrew Israelites break down wrong. Israelites say that because a lot of Israelites are KJV only and they don't deal with the Hebrew, then they'll get a lot of scriptures misconstrued. It says, surely, I'm going to highlight this, the least of the flock shall draw them out. Now, can I tell you guys what they say this means? Why would I go there? Get out of there. Okay. Let me tell you guys what my elders and people still posit, they still perpetuate and propagate this. Do not. They say that this means that, okay, it's about the Edomites, and then they say the least of the flock of the Edomites are the Jewish community. And that that the Jews are going to draw out America into an end time war. This is what they extrapolate and interpolate and assert and insert and impose into 9-10 words. Huh? Anyway, so how do we take surely the least of the flock shall draw them out, and we say in our minds, yes, this means the Jews are going to draw out America to World War III and be destroyed? Do you understand how much twisting and inserting that is into what's actually being said? That is the technical definition of eisegesis. So look what it says. It says, surely surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. What does that mean? This is why comparative translations are so important, so imperative. Let's go to the next verse here. And now my computer wants to freeze. Okay. Wow. Okay. Can you get this in another translation, brother?
Jeremiah
49 and 20. This just froze up.
All right. Jeremiah 49:20, it says, listen to the Lord's plans against Edom and the people of Teman. Even the little children will be dragged off like sheep, and their homes will be destroyed.
Right. Now read it in the KJV.
In the King James, it says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make. Go ahead.
No, so do you guys see the difference? Now, of course, because of this old English language, it's not the same, but you still can't get, yeah, that means Jewish people are going to draw out America for America to be destroyed. Is that going to happen like that? More than likely, yes. But is this verse saying that? No. All right. So now you can stop sharing your screen. Let me just conclude this real quick, because I still have yet to get to my point. So the least of the Edomites will be dragged away. This happens by the Babylonians, and then their land will be desolate. I'm never using this website again. Behold, he shall come up. No, it says, the earth is moved at the noise of their fall. At the cry of the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle and spread his wings over Basra. Talking about Nebuchadnezzar, Babylonian invasion. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom shall be as the heart of a woman in her pains. So it was, what is this? 1 second. So it's not there. Okay. So there's another verse aside. I think it might be in Obadiah where it talks about lifting up the skirt of Esau. It might be in Obadiah, or it might be a different translation. Either way, though, my point was, y'all, is the white man gonna expose the white man. It's been like that for 2,500 years. It happened back then. They turned on each other. Those that were Confederate, they became enemies. They became adversarial to each other. So we can for sure apply a fulfilled prophecy about Edom to today, because the same things are happening. The same things are happening. We have so much content, especially with the days that we're in with advanced social media and technology. We have so many so-called whistleblowers exposing our government, their agenda, this war, the misinformation, the lies, the propaganda. And this is why it's always going to be hard, and we said this every class, to verify your information. They are very good at being the devil. So sometimes you got to wait, and you definitely want to get, out of country sources. I'll say that. Have some boots on the ground, preferably, so you can really get credible information. But go ahead. You was going to say something?
There's just a couple of things I wanted to go into. First thing is I'll show this. Let me pull up some of my. Okay, so again, just
y'all, if y'all can like the video too, if you love the Most High and you love your brother, just go ahead and like the video.
So let me just show this real quick. This is what Trump said. This is today, and again, we've seen repetitiously. He'll say, the war is getting ready to end. And then he'll say another thing. And then he'll say, we're getting ready to make a deal. And then he'll say another thing. We're getting ready to destroy your whole civilization in 2 hours. And then nothing will happen. Here's the latest and the greatest of what Trump has to say about what's going on in Iran. So we'll take a listen.
But what you're referring to is that when you have, lines of vast amounts of oil pouring through your system, if for any reason that line is closed because you can't continue to put it into containers or ships, which has happened to them. They have no ships because of the blockade. What happens is that line explodes from within, both mechanically and in the earth. Something happens where it just explodes, and they say.
So now Trump is purporting that Iran's oil supply is getting ready to implode. And his reason is, well, usually they produce so much oil and they put it in barrels to then ship to various countries throughout the world. But because of the blockade that we have over there, they're unable to do so. And so now their oil is just going to implode somehow. But it assumes that it's just, I don't know, I'm not an engineer, but he's saying that because they're not able to put it in barrels to then sell to other nations, that it's going to blow up. Couldn't they just let it spill out? If it was going to blow up, wouldn't it be better to have just wasted than to cause it to self-implode? But he's saying that the pipes or however they extract the oil is getting ready to implode because they're not able to sell it. Now, again, I'm no engineer, so you don't need to take what I'm saying with all validity, but it just doesn't make much sense if you sincerely think about it.
They only have about 3 days left before that happens.
He said they only have 3 days left before that happens. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear the audio. So Trump is saying the Iranian regime has 3 days left before their oil just blows up. That's what he's saying. Now, again, like I said, I'm not going to say it. I'm not an engineer, so but just ask yourself these questions. They have 3 days, really? Okay, let's continue listening.
And when it explodes, you can never rebuild it the way it was. In other words, it will always be, if you rebuild it, it's hard to rebuild it all, but it would only be about 50% of what it is right now. So it's a very powerful thing that takes place.
So he says in 3 days, Iran's oil is getting ready to blow up. And once it blows up, it's going to take some time to rebuild it. And even when you do rebuild it, you'll only be able to rebuild it to about 50% capacity. And so Iran's they really want that strait to open because, one, they're losing money, and two, they're getting ready to lose basically half of their ability to produce oil. So they are really going to want to, open the strait. But then what happens when we get 72 hours later, everybody, and Iran doesn't open the strait? These guys are crazy radicals. We've got to go out. We got to go in there and we got to do something. These guys are such crazy radical Muslims that they will, bring the world to its knees, even if they have to succumb to the same things. That's what they'll try to say. These guys are out of their minds. That's what Trump's going to say. Or maybe that Trump is just lying and all the cards are in Iran's favor. And now it's not looking good for the United States. All this will likely be a ruse to justify a further escalation in the conflict in Iran, but we'll keep going.
Sort of having to do with nature. But when that gets clogged at the end, in other words, when you have to turn it off because you have no place to store this oil, either put it on ships or storage tanks, which they are just about finished with, a very bad thing's going to happen. So I think they're under pressure. But
when did he say this?
3 days. This is today.
So Iran's just going to blow up.
Their oil supply, rather, there's just going to go kaplooey. And hey, this is going to happen in 3 days, you guys. Now, mind you, the ceasefire was supposed to end, I think, today or tomorrow. So then magically, in a couple of days, 3 days prior, let me make sure I understand something. Okay, there's a ceasefire. 3 days prior to the ceasefire, the president of the United States says, hey, man, in 3 days, Iran is going to self-implode. He's no engineer. He's the president of the United States. He's not an engineer. He's, you're fired. You're fired. He's the apprentice guy. But he says in 3 days, Iran's going to self-implode. Doesn't really bring an expert on to explain it. And then magically, when a big bomb goes off in Iran, hey, see, didn't I tell you guys Iran was going to self-implode? Oh, yeah, it was just going to self-implode. And then Iran says, no, that was the United States that made us go boom. No, it wasn't. You guys cut off the Strait of Hormuz. And it's just a bunch of BS, man. That's all this is. It's a bunch of, hogwash. You getting ready to go into something?
A bunch of rubbish. You had something else? I want to go into that. No, before I even go into that, you said I got to go into that. Hassad found the video.
Is that really it?
That's it. Now, I wish I had a different angle, though, because the audio is better on this other angle.
Thanks a whole lot, chat. It's 250 of you useless people watching this, and I had to, I got 100-degree fever. Go find the video. No, I'm kidding. It was a brother in the chat who he threw me the alley-oop. I didn't know exactly how to find it, but he said maybe if you look this up. So shout out to that brother.
Okay, so I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play this video, and then I'm gonna pass it right back to you. This is very important, y'all. They have to do this. If the tiny hats are smart, then they have to take this angle. You cannot say, I'm a tiny hat. I'm the people. Wow. That is so funny, huh? You cannot say, I'm a tiny hat. I'm a Yehudi, and believe that being in the land right now is a fulfillment of prophecy that actually excludes you from being legitimate. So now there are some smart tiny hats that have been coming out saying, no, this ain't it. We're not supposed to. Then get out of there. And that's the double talking too. Then get up out of there. Or that's just like somebody telling us to go back to Africa. But see, that's you going back to the land of Ashkenaz is easier than us going back to Africa. We don't know which country we were from in Africa. You still have tiny hat family up in Ashkenaz in the Rhineland in Poland that you can phone. I'm sure they make the pilgrimage to Israel. So that's different. But let me put this in the browser because, man, I wish I had a different angle.
By believing them that they are the real Jews, but actually they are not the Jews.
Can I get this in
Full screen?
not full screen, but there's another one that the audio is just better, like the camera that's directly in front of him.
I have no idea. That's the best I could do.
Okay, let me try. What does it say? What's the title here?
Jew in occupied Palestine speaks out against something.
Let me see. Try to get me a better angle.
Yes, it's not likely to happen.
Okay. Turn. Okay, so I'll try to make out what he's saying.
By believing them that they are the real Jews.
So this is missing the whole beginning. This is missing the beginning of the video where he says the whole world has been deceived by believing that, like, Bibi Netanyahu, like he's saying that the people in power or who are saying they're Jews are not Jews. This is what he's saying. Now, if they're not, then you know what are they? They look exactly like you.
And actually, they are not the Jews. They are not real Jews. And unfortunately, we are stuck in this place. We know with no possibility to leave this place.
So he's saying they're stuck there. So that would be his rebuttal. They're stuck. They have no possibility to leave this place. But dang, I forgot something I was about to say. Because I'm trying to be careful here, you know. And you guys too in the chat, please do us a favor and let's try to not talk too candidly about what we know is true, because we know what could happen if we say it was true. So we got to kind of, like, you know, water it down a little bit. But oh man, I forgot what I was about to say. You was gonna say something, Hassad?
Nope.
Okay, let me keep playing.
But we really, really have, by our faith, to leave this place and go to out of Israel, what they call Israel, yeah?
Wow. He's saying what they call Israel. So now he's saying that what they call Israel might not even be the actual biblical geographical location of Israel. Now, for the record, we're not saying Israel's in America. There are some people who, God bless their heart, believe that Israel is actually in America, the land. And they also believe that Israel is in sub-Saharan Africa, like South Africa. Those two ideologies are borderline. It's eccentric, okay? It's eccentric. And it's just not biblically founded. It's not historically founded at all. But what we can say is they do not know the proper locations over there of, like, the city of Zion or the city of David. They do have those locations. When the Bible says that those locations are supposed to be here, they have those locations elsewhere. So we can say that. And our elders have even attested to that. Some of them who are over there or go over there regularly throughout the year. So let's keep going.
And I will bless every nation who will give us the opportunity to be their citizens.
So now he wants to get immigrated out of Israel. They did all that to get there. The Balfour Declaration, World War I, World War II, 1948. You did all that to get the land. Now you're begging the other nations to say, God will bless you if you let us be citizens in your land. Here's the problem, bro.
Okie dokie. I found it. I'm goated. I'm goated. There's no way.
You're the GOAT, bro. You're the GOAT. I got to give it to you.
Where's
your GOAT? Everybody send a donation for the GOAT coat.
No, that's good. But watch, is this it right here? Hold on.
that we are the Jews, the real Jews.
Yes, 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 yes.
Allowed
All right.
by
Pause
our
it.
faith.
Pause it. Pause it real quick. So, wait, I hope it's longer than the other one. I'll keep the other one up just in case. But that's perfect audio. So, what I want to tell you guys too before this, we got to send a donation. We got to get Hassad his goat coat. So, so the prophecy says that Israelites, Luke 21 and 24 says, we will be scattered to all nations as captives, as exiles. Not, hey, all you nations, please receive us. Let us be your citizens. That's not what the prophecy says. Now you might say, well, the New Testament says that. We don't believe in the New Testament. Give me Hassad Leviticus 26. Leviticus 26.
I got it.
And 30
Yeah, I got
to
it.
32.
Yeah, Leviticus 26.
And also Deuteronomy 28.
Leviticus 26, and I'll start at verse 32. It says, and I will bring the land into desolation, and your enemies which dwell therein shall be astonished at it.
Showing you that that land will be occupied by not the bloodline people. I gotta say this, I gotta articulate this methodically. Go ahead.
It says, verse 33, and I will scatter you among the heathen.
We don't even need Deuteronomy 28 because Leviticus 26 is the corollary passage. So it doesn't say I will. It does not say I will make all nations accept you and you can dwell there. That's not what it says. It says I will scatter you. Forced migration, a forced exile, forced servitude. It doesn't say all nations are going to say, yeah, you can come on and live here. That doesn't fit. Now I see what he's doing though, because he does understand the prophecy to a degree and how it's the Messiah's role to replace it. I'm sorry, to place Israel back in the land and give them their sovereignty and autonomy. You was gonna say something that could be it on that.
Yeah.
Let's play the video. Go ahead.
I'm gonna play the video, but these particular gentlemen, these are a group of
they Karaites?
I don't know if they're Karaites. I'm gonna call them, for the sake of this broadcast, anti-Zion Williams. They're anti-Zion Williams. We know what word I can't say that I want to say. Maybe I can. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to be safe. Yeah. And so they've been in existence for some time, and they go through DC and Philadelphia and here even in the land of Israel, and they do counter protests to Israel. And so being anti-Zion Williamson, they're saying, hey, well, matter of fact, I'm gonna let him speak for himself. Watch this. Now, this is on Israel's Independence Day. This is just passed, I believe, last week, a few days ago, 4 days ago. They had their 78th anniversary of their independence. So like their 4th of July.
That we are the Jews, the real Jews, and we are not allowed by our faith to have any state until our Mashiach will come.
Yes. That's why I said, if you're smart, their best argument is to say we're not supposed to be there. That's their best argument. But then I'm going to hacksaw Jim Duggins you. I'm going to go to other prophecies. Listen, we say this all the time. We say this all the time, Hassad. You might be able to get first base in every debate. You might be able to get to second base, maybe even third. You're not sliding in home. You're not sliding in home. No weapon formed against me. See, we're going to sing the song of Moses when the rightful people are placed in their proper position. But first, we got to clean up ourselves, though. You know what? We got to clean up ourselves, though. We got to get our spirits right before we start pointing fingers at anybody else. But the point is somebody said, where is this in prophecy? Jeremiah chapter 23, it tells you we don't need the New Testament to prove this because we know they don't even believe in the New Testament. Jeremiah 23 says the Messiah is the one who takes the Israelites back to the land.
He understands that. He doesn't even believe in the New Testament, and he understands that the Messiah is the one to implement, to one, bring the people of Israel back to their homeland, and to then set up the kingdom there, or as he called it, the state of Israel. Basically, what he's saying is, how did you get here? Nobody's
supposed to be here. You guys don't know that. But read that for Ananiah 7, Jeremiah 23. I hope that's what you're asking, family.
And they got the Oregon Duck logo. I'm going to answer any question Ananiah asks. I'm answering that. Jeremiah 23, I'll start at verse 5. Behold, the days come, says the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth.
So when he comes, he's going to execute justice and judgment in the earth and come from David.
In his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name whereby he shall be called, the Lord our righteousness.
That's his name, the Lord our righteousness, Yah our righteousness. But he's the one that says in his day. You can't play no games with this or get around with that. Somebody says, look what the Septuagint says. Let's take a look. Grab that, Hassad, in the Elepos. I think that's how you call it, Elepos.
It says, same thing. In his days, both Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell securely. And this is his name, which the Lord shall call him, Josedek.
Oh, he's in the whole nother thing. He's in Jeremiah 31. But I will make a new covenant with the whole nation of Israel after I plant them back in the land, says the Lord. I will put my law in their inward hearts. So this was not supposed to be a united. Now, somebody could play a game, though, King Yah. They could say, well, yeah, it's the Most High using the nations. So I wouldn't go that angle. I'll go right to where it says the Messiah himself is coming back to do that. That's what I would do. Okay,
Yeah,
so let's play the video.
Micah is very clear on that. We can get that later, but I'll finish with the video.
No, you can get it since we're on that now, because he's going to go in and talk about some other stuff. So you're talking about Micah 5.
Yep, Micah chapter 5. And
write these down, because sadly, there are some Old Testament only Israelites that exist, and they believe that the United Nations are going to put us on
Boeing jets.
Yeah, on Delta and Spirit and get us back to the land, and they're just going to hand it over freely. That's not going to happen. Prophecy states the Messiah brings the Israelites back to the land. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got about 300 people in here. If y'all could please, if you haven't already, like and share the video, we would greatly appreciate it. So I'll read this.
Thumb up the video.
In Micah 5:1, it says, now gather yourself in troops, O daughter of troops. He hath laid siege against us. So it's going to get very descriptive about the timeline and the individuals involved. He hath laid siege against us. Okay, so there's a siege going on against Israel. That's why it says they shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheek. There's a siege that would take place against the people of Israel. And at that time, the judge of Israel, the ruler of Israel, would get smitten. Okay, interesting. But you, Bethlehem Ephratah, though you be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of you shall he come forth unto me, that is to be a ruler in Israel. So in the town of Bethlehem, from the clan of Ephratah, there's going to be a male that is going to be a ruler in Israel. That's the ruler in Israel. So the judge of Israel right here is this guy, this male from Bethlehem Ephratah, from the tribe of Judah, whose goings forth or his origin have been from old, from everlasting. There's only one guy that fits this bill. That would be who the world calls Jesus Christ, whose real name is Yeshua. And verse 3 then goes on to say, look what it says in the NLT. The people of Israel will be abandoned to their enemies until the woman in labor gives birth. Then at last his fellow countrymen will return from exile to their own lands. Meaning he is going to be the one that issues and is the cause by which the people of Israel return to their own lands. You see? So we can go to the video again. Let me go back.
And until then, we have no state.
אז אנחנו מכריזים היום,
until our Mashiach, by our faith, to have any state, until our Mashiach will come. And until then, we have no state.
אז אנחנו מכריזים היום,
until the Messiah comes, he's read, I got to figure out how to say Micah in proper biblical Hebrew. Micha. In Micha, he's read Micha, and he knows what the Bible says about Moshiach. And it says that the Messiah would come and save the people of Israel and bring them back to their own lands. Now, of course, he's waiting for the Messiah to arrive, whereas we are waiting for the Messiah to return. Nonetheless, the point remains, if those people are the real ethnic people of Israel, they should not be over there. Not only should they not, because someone could say, yeah, they shouldn't be there, but well, they are there. It's not about they should not be there, they would not be there. That's the point. They should not be there and they would not be there. They would not be there because they would be, according to, as we just read in the Bible, in the lands of their enemies, in particular in Babylon the Great. Yet not only are those people in a place which, if they are the real Israelites, where they should not be and would not be, but as they're in a place where they should not and would not be, the country known as the United States of America, which is Babylon according to the Bible, is helping aid them in a war when the Bible says that Babylon would be enslaving those people.
Dang.
They do not fit the bill. And this isn't like a,
it's not a diss song.
This is
hey,
not,
what did Jay-Z say? This ain't a diss song. This is what?
It's a real song.
This ain't a diss song. It's a real song, brother.
A real song. So this isn't like, hey, oh my God, I just have this viral, just bigoted hatred towards these people. Certainly that's not the case. The case is, hey, you're saying that you are these people. You're not lining up with this. If you want to, convert and you want to believe in the Messiah and live like a Yehudi, then there's no problem with that. And in the kingdom, all 10 nations, the Goyim will grab the skirt of those who are Yehudi, and they will say, we will go with you, for we've heard God's with you. They'll wear zik, and they will eat kosher, but they are not the ethnic people of Israel. And that's totally fine. But what's not totally fine is claiming an identity that is not yours, and it's in lying and committing mass murder in the name of that identity.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Okay, look.
I can't do another rant like that. I'm so sick. I
want to play the rest of that video, though. You felt like you was at the mountaintop. Remember when Martin Luther King gave that speech and he got lightheaded? When he almost passed out. Jeremiah 30:13 in the NLT says this, everybody. There is now, even Dr. Brown says this is a future prophecy, Jeremiah 30. I've been working with Dr. Brown.
See, there it is.
But I still be having to get him. And when I say get him, I mean I gotta challenge him because I stand on truth. If this is future prophecy, and it says in verse 13 that there will be none to help the Israelites in eschatology and the eschaton in the end time, then how are they getting billions of dollars of aid financially and militarily? Jeremiah 30:13 and in the NLT verse 12. This is what the Lord says. Your injury is incurable. How can you say that this fits that? They have an incurable and terrible wound? No, but we do. Let me tell you something. There is nothing that will fix the black race.
Yeah, we're done.
Nothing.
Except God, literally.
Except divine intervention. There is nothing that can fix black people. That's an incurable wound.
Yeah. Turn on the radio or go to your local ghetto and listen to the music they're listening to and think, maybe we could just give them, maybe they just need a nicer school. The old school that they had had mildew on the walls. Maybe they just need a better food program. Maybe that's not going to help. Okay. I'm telling you right now, this next generation, the YNs, if you think the YNs are bad, can you imagine? Okay. This is a generation of children, the ones right under me, who are raised on NBA Youngboy and Sexy Red and Sukihana and God knows who else, some other rappers that I don't know about. Can you imagine how they're going to raise children? Can you imagine that generation of kids? Bro, we need God. That's it. We have to either we need God or I'm not gonna say what else. We need God. That's it. We need God. Or else
so
we're gonna go bye-bye.
We potentially I reached out to Charleston White. You guys might not like him, or you guys might not like it. But I reached out to Charleston White to possibly set up a discussion with him. Not to convert him to being an Israelite, but to ask some real questions, such as where do you see the black race in 20 years? Where do you guys see the black race in 20 years? If you turn, all you got to do is go on Facebook and press shorts, and then scroll through your shorts. Go on Instagram, press shorts, and then scroll through your shorts. Go on YouTube, press shorts, scroll through your shorts. Go on TikTok and press shorts, scroll through your shorts. And you tell me what you think where we're gonna be.
Bro,
Absolutely
people already hate us for no reason. They hated us for no reason. And now we're now giving them reasons to hate us. When you let me not see, I'm not gonna go any further. But when you hear some of the music and the behavior of our people, it's like, what do you do with them? What do we do? Charleston White, Charleston White says that he's done teaching. He doesn't even teach black men no more. He says they gotta die. He said this entire generation of kids has to die out, and we just have to start over.
Everybody got mad at me when I said I think Donald Trump should drop a bomb on Chicago, because I said that's the only way to fix Chirac. And people got mad.
Listen.
And hey.
Listen, you guys, if I became the supreme ruler or the dictator of the United States of America or whatever, I would rule the black community with an iron fist. There would be tanks in O Block. I will end black on black crime in one day. There will be F-22 Raptors just constantly patrolling O Block, Detroit. The moment, listen, these niggas try to shoot a music video. Do you think they're gonna shoot a music video toting guns? There's going to be a bomb dropped on that music video. I'm telling you.
No, that's prophecy though. The brother brought out a prophecy in 2nd Esdras. Matter of fact, let's read that. Let's read that in 2nd Esdras. Once you start talking about how bad the black race is, now YouTube starts putting the video in the algorithm. Now we got over 300 people. Ain't that crazy? Hit the like button, y'all. Hit the like button.
2nd Esdras.
Yeah, go ahead.
2nd Esdras chapter 5, verse 8. I'll share my screen. It says, there shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again. And the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters.
Menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. That's what the hell a YN is. You want to know about the prophecy of the YNs? You'll find it right there. You understand that? So now let's go back to that video, and then you said you had something too.
I'll go back to the video. So here goes
Lamech.
Till our Mashiach will come. And until then, we have no state.
אז אנחנו מכריזים היום, אחרי 78 שנות מרידה, שהיום הוקמה המדינה הזאת, שאנחנו מתאבלים, אנחנו צמים, אנחנו הולכים ברחובות עם שק ואפר, ואנחנו מייחלים ומתפעלים.
Bro, they're burning the Israeli flag, and they said you hear what he said? He said they're weeping and they're putting ashes on their head. They're showing up to their fellow Yehudi's door with dirt and ashes on their head on the 4th of July. Because they understand that, hey, we're not even supposed to be here. The Torah, Tanakh says we are not supposed to be here. What are we doing? Not only are we not supposed to be here, we're not supposed to be here fighting wars and defeating people and as a top, a bunch of billionaires and succeeding like this. No, we have to go back to the curses. They're trying to go back to the curses, basically.
Dang, bro, just like their women. Remember their women was cutting their hair, trying to fulfill Isaiah chapter 3?
Yeah.
Isaiah chapter 3 says the black woman, the daughter of Judah, was cursed with the scalp, cursed with baldness on her head. So you had the pale Jewish tiny hat ladies trying to cut their hair to fit in with Isaiah chapter 3 and things, but it ain't working. All right, so you had something before this. You was going into something when I was going into Jeremiah 49. If not, I got some things pulled up. We can keep going.
No, we don't got to go into, because I was going to read. Well, Trump got interviewed today, and he was asked about the assassination attempt. And it's funny. It's not funny that a human being's life was almost YouTube. But you want me to read it? I don't have to if you don't want me to.
Go ahead. He made a post earlier. I seen it, but I didn't read it.
Okay. I think I just took it down. Yep. Never mind. I think we should just move on because I accidentally just clicked out of it.
Okay. So you guys are here for the major prophecy, which is 2nd Esdras 11, where it talks about the eagle. But let's just run up a couple things real quick. I was so happy when I seen this. Sister Michelle in the building. Shalom, what's going on? Yehitzkel. Yehitzkel. Hey, I'm still working on my biblical Hebrew, y'all. But I was so happy when I seen the Russian defense minister decorates North Korean troops. Why am I happy? Why am I happy about this? Yeah, I know that's how you say Ezekiel, but it's just hard for me to pronounce it. Why am I happy about the Russian defense minister decorating North Korean troops? Oh, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Let me zoom in a little bit. Look at that. Let's go. Let's go, y'all. So Russia defense minister decorates North Korean troops, right? Russia defense minister, he's decorating the troops who helped liberate Russia's Kursk region from Ukrainian forces. Now we have what? Look at this alliance coming together so well, like the Bible said. Look at this BRIC alliance and coalition forming together so well, like the Most High said. So we got North Korea, we got Brazil, Russia, India, China. We'll start with them. South Africa, you got Russia, Ethiopia, you got Russia and North Africa, you got North Korea. I said that already. You got all the inductees who put in the application to become BRICS, such as Pakistan, and I'm forgetting a few more other Arab countries. This is shaping up to be a real heavyweight bout between NATO and its allies versus BRIC and its allies. Why does this matter though right now? How does this have to do with, what does this have to do with the Iranian war, the Iranian war? Well, the Bible is clear. Of course, we have to marry everything with prophecy, but the Bible is clear. What we have is we have Russia and China aiding Iran. Of course, Iran has Lebanon and the Houthis. Now we're in a ceasefire. If somebody could look this up, because I'm trying not to lose my train of thought here. Look up when the ceasefire should end. Somebody in the chat, look up when the ceasefire is supposed to end between Israel and Lebanon, and then America and Iran. But the Bible is clear, though, because we have Gog and Magog, and they're supposed to have this great company in all these countries. Name them, some of them, some of them by name, even in the Bible. And we see it playing out today for this Eastern Bloc against the Western Bloc. According to the Bible, this is going to be Armageddon. Armageddon. Oh, priest, you got a secret knowledge. No, that's not even it. If you understand how many prophecies are fulfilled, and only thing we have left, the process of elimination can really get you to, get the exact or a more accurate timeline. All we have left is, as far as the wars go, Armageddon. These small scale wars are going to turn from regional conflicts to worldwide conflicts, and that's how we're going to get World War III, which is Armageddon. Somebody says the ceasefire ends tonight.
Yeah,
Wow.
so tonight.
Okay. Good.
I'll be back.
So you say what?
I'll be back in a little bit too.
Okay. So when we go to Ezekiel 38, I want to point this out to everybody. So you do not misunderstand, or if you're trying to teach this to your children, or if you're trying to teach this to your spouse, or if you're trying to teach this to your Christian family, or if you're trying to show this to, whoever it may be, do not get God confused with Magog. What we have is Christian apologists who call themselves prophets. Remember how they said that the Medes were Iran? They make the same mistake with Magog and they say it's China. Who put a one in the chat if you've heard the Trinity Broadcast Network and Christian apologists try to say that China is Magog? Yeah, so a lot of so-called Christian prophets will say that Gog and Magog, they don't know what they're talking about. So we have to go over this again. So they'll say the Medes are Iran. We went through that. You got to watch the last class for that. The Medes are not Iran. The Medes are ancient Japhites. That's still Russian territory. That Central Eastern Europe. Okay. So let's just click on these words in the blue letter. And I also probably want to look in the Targum Jonathan, Ezekiel 38 Targum. This is going to be our first century Aramaic commentary. Sometimes I don't have the English. Okay, there we go. So it does. Okay, there we go. Let me show you guys what it says in our first century commentary, the Aramaic scrolls. This is Ezekiel 38. It says, "O mortal," this is verse 2, "turn your face toward Gog of the land of Magog." So it's the Most High calling Ezekiel a mortal and telling him to look towards Gog of the land of Magog. Now, this is what a lot of people, watch this. I'm going to show you guys an exercise right now. Why is it not blowing up on the screen? Okay, there we go. So let's do an exercise right now. According to you guys, who is Gog and who is Magog? Who is Gog and who is Magog? I'm going to show you guys the confusion these Christian prophets have tried to iron in our minds and thwart us and confuse us with the prophecies. Is China in prophecy? Yes, China is in prophecy. No, who is Gog? Tell me who is Gog and tell me who is Magog. Who is Gog and who is Magog? See, I told you guys because they have not been breaking it down properly. Gog is the leader of Magog. Gog is the leader of Magog. Magog is the land of Russia. That's why you see it says Meshech. A lot of people get Moscow. Some say that's Moscow. There you go. Anthony's got it right. One, Gog is a person. Magog is the land that person is ruling. Now, why does it sound similar? So it might, confuse your brain a little bit. So right now it would be Putin and Russia, but we don't know if this is going to happen. A prophet, if you're not claiming to be a prophet, you have to be very careful in how you prophesy this. Yeah, Pusheisty. There you go. The real Pusheisty. Vladimir Putin. So if this happens in his life, in this lifetime, in Putin's lifetime, then Putin would have been Gog. And Magog, of course, is Russia. Now, Gog in the Hebrew, let's go here. Let me show you guys something interesting. I tried to correlate this, but you never want to force prophecy. Prophecy doesn't need to be forced. Gog means ruler. No, it means mountain. Okay, it means mountain. Gog means mountain. Now look at the Gesenius lexicon. It's going to prove this. He's the prince of the land of Magog. Also of Rossi, Mosky. This is where you get Moscow from. So scholars are saying Meshech. Let's go back to Meshech real quick. Scholars are saying Meshech, which is right here. You see this? Meshech. So when it says Gog, the land of Magog, the prince of Meshech. So we go to the Gesenius lexicon. All right, so Gog means mountain. Keep that in mind. Now, when we look at the Gesenius lexicon, this is a ruler who is also ruling over Mosky, which they say is Moscow, who is to come with great forces from the extreme north. That's very important. The extreme north. That's not just basic Europe. That's Russian territory and all its provinces. To invade the Holy Land and to perish there. That's Jehoshaphat, as prophesied by Ezekiel. Equally with Magog, otherwise at Pog 28, equally with Magog seems to be the name of a region, not of a prince, as among the Arabians. Gog and Magog belong to different time to those spoken of in Ezekiel. It's vain to point out a discrepancy. He's also called a Reubenite. Okay. Now, what is the name? I'm trying to make this correlation here. So this means mountain, but Vladimir Putin's name means, I believe Vladimir means ruler or the way. What does Vladimir Putin mean? It means ruler of the way, I think. What does the name mean? Vladimir Putin's full name, Putin, Slavic, ruler of the world. So the name Vladimir is of a Slavic origin, commonly interpreted to mean ruler of the world. And then Putin means the way or the path. Interesting. Who knows what an omen nomen is? What's an omen nomen? Somebody said Gog and Magog is Russia and India. Not true. Somebody said Putin knows this. I'm sure. Well, he has to know what his name means, but when he became president, he has to know that he's somewhere in prophecy, especially if he's been watching my videos. So Vladimir means ruler of the world. Putin means the path or the way. Now, an omen nomen is like what your name is, that's what you become in life, or that's what you conquer, that's what you fulfill. Whatever your name means in life, that's what you fulfill. That's the omen nomen. So yeah, it can mean peace, but we see the path that he's going down. We see what he's gearing up to do. I mean, he's still at war with Ukraine, and he's helping by proxy Iran. How now will Russia, will Magog rule the entire world as far as the number one superpower, the hegemony? Will they? You know, certain Israelites got mad at us because we said this, but we weren't saying it like they were gonna rule forever. All we said was Revelation 18. I want you guys to listen. Some Israelites had a heart attack over this. Revelation 18, Babylon's destroyed. The place, the landmass, America. Revelation 19, that's NATO. NATO versus EU. I'm sorry, NATO versus BRIC. Armageddon. NATO's destroyed. What do we have left? Brazil, Russia, India, and China. The Bible says that all the nations are going to rally behind Magog. So we just said they're going to rule for a short time. Not that they were going to put us in captivity again or anything like that. And certain Israelites just had a heart attack. I know why, because they don't know the the prophetic timeline. It's just true. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take from Armageddon. So after Armageddon, you'll have Russia and its allies ruling. I don't know necessarily what they're going to be doing or how long it's going to take, but it won't be a long time. But from that time to Jehoshaphat is all the time that Magog has. Because according to Ezekiel 38, Magog and Gog and their allies are going to be destroyed at the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Somebody said, check my Instagram. Check my Instagram. Let's see. Yeah, they're coming against us. So that's why I said. So give me a second, Alan. So from Armageddon to Jehoshaphat, that's all the time Magog has to rule. Then they come against us. They come against us while we're in the land, and then they don't even get to the land, that invasion. The Israelite warriors, the battle axe and weapons of war, actually meet them out at Jehoshaphat, and they're destroyed there. Okay, let me check my Instagram real quick. Let's see what we got. Okay. I got that already. I think you might have left out, but Hassad found it. Somebody says, so is the Holy Land so-called Israel or America? Bro, is there any temple ruins of our holy temple here in America? Ask yourself that question. No. The Bible says we would be in the land of our enemies until the Messiah takes us back to our land. So this place can't be the land of Israel, my G. We're in the land of our enemies. The Bible don't say we'll be in our holy land when the Messiah comes back. Okay, so now let's pick back up on Ezekiel 38 here and why this matters so much to me, because people will be like, oh, the bricks are going to die out. The bricks are going to die out. The brick not dying. The brick getting stronger and stronger. Their GDP, their economy is getting stronger and stronger. They're starting to trade less and less with the dollar. So Vladimir Putin, whose name means ruler of the world, the ruler of the world, and this is all his allies that's going to be with him. Of course, we've been harping on and highlighting and magnifying the fact that Persia, the ancient name for Iran, that Russia will be a guard, as the Bible says right here in verse 7, be a guard unto them. That's been the focus. But it's not just about Iran. It mentions two words here in verse 4, a great company. Let's see what this word means in the Hebrew, a great company. Let's see. A whole army, even a great company. So much, many, great company. Korhel. Congregation, assembly, company, multitude. Okay, here we go. For an evil counsel, war or invasion. War or invasion. That matches up with the usage. And so that brings us to where we are today with the Israel-Iran war. Is they're getting tighter and tighter with their allies, closer and closer with their allies. I think Kim Jong-un just fired a missile just to show Taiwan what he's working with, just to show the world what he's working with. So as we approach everybody tonight, buckle up because the end of the ceasefire is tonight. What do I expect to... Remember we told you guys that Trump always does a ceasefire like on Friday and then he ends it Sunday night? Why? What is the pattern, everybody? What is the pattern? We should know this by now. A ceasefire is always starting before the weekend and ending when the week ends. When the weekend ends. Why? The markets. This is an absolute joke. This is an absolute joke. This is a play. This is a skit. This is a skit, as we call it. All Trump is doing is going on a skit versus Iran. They might not even want war. They might just want to keep getting rich off the economy, and they're using this war as a masquerade for it. Crazy work. So what does this have to do with Second Esdras? What does this have to do with the eagle? Can somebody tell me what this has to do with the prophetic eagle in the hidden books of the Apocrypha? What does this have to do with the prophetic books when they call it the Apocrypha? And who knows? I like to do these trivia questions. Who knows why they call it the Apocrypha? Who knows why they call it the Apocrypha? We got over 300 people in here. Hit that like button if you want the Lord to protect you. I'm not saying he's going to protect you if you hit the like button. I'm just saying hit the like button if you want the Lord to protect you. When these missiles rain down, the prophet seen them coming down like big hailstones. Hidden books. Hidden books. But why do they call them hidden? You see, these are questions that we should know as not just Israelites, but as Bible believers. Why do they call them hidden books? You see, these trivial questions that you should be able to answer. Now, when I give you this answer, you're going to say, wow, I thought it was deeper than that. Also, to hit the email if you want to join the congregation, TGC. Let's see. Okay, because they hid them. No. Shalom to my brother, Jediah Malek. You came from that channel. You came from the brother's channel because they hid him. No. Martin Luther removed them. He did, but that doesn't mean hidden books taken out the 70th Virgin. They are not canon. Dark sayings, they're taken out. Put me on you because it has set them. That found, that's what the Protestants call them. That pedophile took them. So let me just give you guys the answer. The books, the Apocrypha is called hidden books. And let me tell you guys why they call them it. It's not that they're hidden. They've been in circulation since 2,000 years ago. They're a part of the Greek Septuagint. They're a part of the Codex Sinaiticus. They're a part of the Textus Receptus in the Byzantine text. They were a part of the Bible, the English Bible. They're a part of the first King James Bible all the way up till about 1700s, 1800s, and then they took them out. So the reason why they're called hidden, you guys are going to laugh, but this is just true. They're called hidden because in the 1611 King James and other English Bibles, and possibly even, so they put them in between the Old Testament and the New Testament. Yeah, there's nothing deep or esoteric about it. They're only called the hidden books because I guess they're hidden between the Old Testament and the New Testament when you open your Bible. Sorry, guys. You thought you were going to learn like some crazy mystical knowledge, but that's why, and that's an absolute fact. So we're going to the eagle prophecy in Second Esdras, in the Apocrypha, and we're tying that into the end time destruction of America. Could this be the fulfillment of that? What we see with Iran and America and Lebanon and Israel and Russia and Ukraine and Taiwan and China. Could this be? I sure hope so. I feel like the Chucky doll. You remember Chucky kept saying, I can't spend another day in this gosh darn doll. I don't want to spend my time in Babylon in this corruptible body. I had to take my dog to the vet today. I had to bend down so my dog would be still and calm while they swabbed my dog's mouth. And, when I got up, it just hurt. Everything hurt. I couldn't even squat for like 3 minutes. Getting up is crazy. So we want to get out of these corruptible bodies, y'all. Also, too, though, that plays a part in stretching. If you work out, if you exercise and you don't stretch, you're just bringing that pain on yourself, y'all. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Okay, so my knees is going out. Somebody said, priest, can you answer an off-topic question? All right, look, I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes. What time is it? I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to ask a couple off-topic questions. Then we got to go right into this prophecy. Let's see. Can you explain speaking the true language to us? Because some Israelites think you're not supposed to. What? Well, Isaiah chapter 19 tells you that it's calling the end time place Egypt. It's not talking about actual Egypt. And it's saying that everybody is going to believe in the Most High. It can't be talking about actual Egypt. That's an Arab country. So it's poetically speaking about America. Revelation 11 says this place is spiritually called Egypt. Babylon, same characteristics of Babylon. And it says that we would speak the language of Canaan. We would speak the language of Canaan there. That means some people, not just Israelites, some of the people are going to be speaking the true language before the end of the world happens at the end of time. But in Zephaniah 3:9, it tells you he's going to restore it to everybody. It doesn't say some people wouldn't know it. It says it's going to be restored to everybody. So that's proof that we would know the true language in the end times. Genesis 6:2 in Ceasefire. Can you break down who are the sons of God? In Ceasefire, like you're talking about why in Ceasefire? You're talking about like the Jewish commentary? I explained about Daniel, you never, Paulette. I'm not reading every single comment, sister. There is over 300 people in here. So maybe I'll do I'll finish this prophecy and then I'll come back to the chat. Would you say Russians are Edomites? And if so, what evidence do you have? Targum, Talmud, DSS history, or just opinions? Caucasians in general are Edomites. I've asked about Zephaniah, Shar Yasha'Allah. In the Targum. Okay, in the Targum. Okay. So let's go to the Targum real quick since I'm on there. And then I'll go to Genesis 6. Oh, you know what though? Let me help you out, bro. I have to educate you guys on another thing. Because if you don't know, you're gonna look crazy, and I don't want you guys to look crazy. I want you guys to look smart. So let me tell you guys that there is a difference. Where are we at? There is a difference. Where's the brother at? The email. You can send me on my email. Okay, I'm gonna have to listen. I'm gonna have to do this. Let me read this chapter, and then I'm gonna come back to the comments, please. But I want to. Where's the brother that asked about the Targum? Okay, speak the truth. Let me help you out. Because again, I want you guys to look smart, and not just look smart. Be smart. There's 2 Targums. Some of y'all don't even know what the Targum is. It's Aramaic for scroll or Aramaic for commentary. And because we spoke a lot of Aramaic during the 1st century, the one, focus on the Targum Jonathan, okay? The Targum Jonathan is by a man and his students who basically made commentary of the prophecies, the prophets. All right? Never get it confused with the Targum Jonathan that is commentating on Torah. So there's 2. I'm gonna tell you guys why you would look silly if you try to act as if the latter is authoritative. You're gonna look silly. The first one that I said, Targum Jonathan, is just only commentating on the prophets. That's 1st century. They all say that's by the man Jonathan or his scribes while he's present by his authority. The other Targum Jonathan that is commentating on the Torah, the 5 books, that comes later, like 500 to 700 AD, and it's called the Pseudo Targum Jonathan. So do I still use the one from 500, 700 that's called pseudo? Yes, I do, but not as like my smoking gun. It still has some historicity. It can show you how we looked at things, or it can also show you how we passed down things to the converts, because by that time, the converts were in power and assuming our identity. Why is it called pseudo Jonathan? If something is called pseudo, should we still use it? I'm gonna help you guys out there too. Look at this guy. He says, so you're basically saying everything you used to teach was a lie. Everything I'm teaching right now, I haven't changed. What are you talking about? Like, and if you paid me for me to teach you only Israelites can be saved, you still teach only Israelites can be saved. So you should thank me that I taught you that and you continue to teach that. So please just shut up, my boy. Explain the Immaculate Conception. Hold on, I'm on the Targum right now, so hold on. For historical purposes, let's see. Yeah, for historical purposes, okay. Somebody says 6 Japanese wives, bro. What is 6 Japanese wives have to do with the topic, bro? Okay, so just because something says it's pseudo, it does not mean we can't use it. Let me explain. When it says pseudo Jonathan, that just means Jonathan did not write it. Nevertheless, because I want to highlight this comment. Nevertheless, it still has historicity in it. So let's say Jonathan did not commentate on the Torah, but it's still a document from 1500 years ago. Of course, we want to know what we were doing, what we were saying, and what the people who we taught, the converts, what they were doing and what they were saying, because some of the stuff we taught them, they carried on. So you still can use it, but I would not use it as like authoritative or the primary. All right. So I'll leave it at that, and I will address Genesis 6. After this, we really got to get to the end of the class, which is Second Esdras. But I'll answer this last one. Do you think Israelites wrote the Talmud, or do you think the small hats wrote it? Before I answer that, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you think we wrote the Talmud, or do you think converts wrote the Talmud? If you say, I got a story to tell as well. Small hats, small hats, small hats. Small heads. Okay, so I'll answer this, and then let's proceed with the class, and then I'll try to open it up for questions. So we do have certain brothers who I believe to be very scholarly in the Israelite community who say that it was us that wrote the Talmud. I'm not going to mention any names. I'm sure they don't care. They do it publicly. But there are some intellectuals and leaders in our community that believe that we wrote the Talmud. Me personally, according to, I have it on my shelf here. Now I have the Mishnah rather, but the Talmud is like the Gemara and the Mishnah. The Gemara is them debating on what the Mishnah says. The Mishnah is like the laws. The Gemara is these rabbis debating what the laws actually mean. I'm going to give you guys a few reasons why I don't believe we wrote the Talmud. Because the Talmud was composed in 250-ish AD to 500 AD. It's called the Babylonian Talmud because some Jewish, or they say Jews from Babylon and Jerusalem, linked up together to write the Talmud. Here's one problem, everybody. In 135 AD, we're already gone. We're already gone in 135 AD. We're not even there in Jerusalem to compose and start writing the Talmud. We're gone in 135 AD. And even Rome put out an edict. Anybody can look this up. 135 AD, the Bar Kokhba revolt. First, it was 70 AD. A mass amount of us went into slavery, died, or got exiled. A little bit of us stayed behind. We procreated up until 135 AD. Then we tried to revolt against the Roman Empire again. That's called the Bar Kokhba revolt. Then what Rome did was this. Rome put out a proclamation that we could no longer come back to the land. We're expelled for good at 135 AD. So how are we in Jerusalem writing this? It would have to be the converts that were left behind. They didn't look like us. They could get away with being there in the land. So that's one. Two, they say we say the Jews are black. We say the Jews are black, right? But in the Talmud, which I can pull it up right now, it says a black man can't be a priest. It talks about, black man can't be a Levitical priest or serve in the temple. Talks about how unattractive black babies are. It talks about black skin being a defect. So it just makes zero sense. It talks about how they, circumcise the babies orally. Damn. Why in the hell did I say that? Listen, y'all, if I get in trouble for this, I'm just gonna be on Genesis varsity for the rest of my life. I'm tired of having to censor myself. So it talks about that, what they do to the little ones, okay? And then it talks about how a woman who committed bestiality can still marry a priest. So it's all of these things that we wouldn't write that. Torah doesn't say that. And it actually discriminates against the color of the actual people. So I don't believe that we wrote the Talmud. All right. That's your answer there. So if I missed your question, please forgive me. I want to, because some of y'all are here for the second Esdras breakdown. So I want to go into that and possibly open it up for questions, but I am starving and we're already at 2 hours. So you have the email. Somebody's saying, check my email, brother. Give me a second. Let me go into second Esdras real quick. All right. So let me take this off the screen. And all right. So let's get into the hidden books. This is second Esdras 11. Now, for time's sake, I'm just gonna kind of paraphrase this, y'all, and then maybe we can pick back up. We're live Tuesday. We may be able to pick back up on this topic Tuesday. We should have a lot more information, being that the ceasefire ends tonight. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of new developments in current news. All right. So second Esdras 11, let's talk about it. In second Esdras 11, hit that like button. We got over 300 people in here. Hit the like button, y'all. If you're God's chosen people, hit the like button. If you love your children, hit the like button. If you're not a deadbeat father, hit the like button. If you're not a deadbeat husband, if you're not a deadbeat husband, hit the like button. I know a lot of y'all can't hit the like button. Matter of fact, let me hit the like button myself. If you're not a deadbeat husband, hit the like button. Let me go ahead and like that from all my I got fake accounts and everything. I'm going to all my burners, all my burner accounts. Boop, there we go. Goodbye. So second Esdras 11:1. All right, I'm gonna close out of that screen so you guys can blow it up. So it says, then I saw a dream, and behold, there came from the sea an eagle. There came from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. For time's sake, I'm just going to break this down. This eagle is dealing with the ancient Roman Empire. Now, it's crazy because I know Israelites say all the Edomite nations had the eagle as their national bird or symbol, but that's not true. But majority of these Edomitical nations do use the eagle to represent them. So this is dealing with the ancient Roman Empire, which had 12 feather wings and 3 heads. These 12 feather wings are, if this is the ancient empire, then what are the 12 feather wings? If this is the ancient empire, what is the 12 feather wings? It deals with the Caesar Augustus dynasty, starting from Julius Caesar all the way to Diocletian, I believe, from around 70 AD. It's called the Caesar Augustus dynasty. All right. Caesar Augustus dynasty. If you look at the 12 coin Caesars, take a look at this 12 coin Caesars. I completely didn't answer that brother's question about Genesis 2. Oh my goodness. Where's my mental clarity? 12 coin Caesars. So take a look at this. This is the 12 feathers right here. You can just type in 12 coin Caesars. This were the first rulers of the Roman Empire. 12 coin Caesars. Domitian, I said Diocletian. Domitian will be the last one. So Julius Caesar, Augustus, Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, Nero, Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. That would be, I wasn't sharing my screen, my fault. That would be your 12 coin Caesars. All right. That would be your 12 feathers, all a part of the Caesar Augustus dynasty. Put a 1 in the chat if you understand. That was very simple. But it had 3 heads. It had 3 heads. These heads are important because these 3 heads, especially the middle one, is going to be the one that does something that activates global dominance and worldwide dominance, if you will, when they implement something. So I saw, and behold, she spread her wings over all the earth, and all the winds of the air blew upon her and were gathered together. And I beheld, and out of her feathers there grew other contrary feathers, and they became little feathers and small. So these are other contrary feathers. They're not like the other feathers. This is what you call the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Empire was not like the 12 feathers. A lot of them believed in Christianity, and some were even said to be so-called black people. I know a lot of people argue that Constantine was black. There are a couple images of him and his mother that appear to be black. I don't necessarily, I used to believe that. Does it matter? No, because he did something very evil and wicked, which is implemented or put in law that Christianity would be the universal religion. And also he made you have to believe in the Trinity. So verse 4 says, but her heads were at rest. That means the 12 feathers are going to come alive and reign before the heads do. Keep that in mind. And the middle head was greater than the others. Moreover, I beheld, and lo, the eagle flew with her feathers and reigned upon the earth and over all that dwelt therein. And I saw all these things under the heaven were subject unto her, and no man spake against her, not one creature on earth, because that was the attitude of the ancient Roman Empire. Absolute destruction. So then it says in verse 7, I beheld, and the eagle rose upon her talons, and spake to her feathers, saying, watch not all at once, but sleep everyone in his own place, and watch by course, meaning they're all not going to reign at the same time. They're going to reign consecutively or one after another. But let the heads be preserved for the last. So after the 12 feathers, you'll see the heads come to power. I beheld, and lo, the voice went out not of her heads, but from the middle of the body. And I numbered the contrary feathers, and there were 8. So there's 8 feathers. This is a Byzantine Empire. Got the 12 feathers. These are the Caesar Augustus dynasty. And then I looked, and behold, on the right side, there arose 1 feather and reigned over all the earth. This is the first one. That's Julius Caesar. And so it was that when it reigned and it came to an end, and their place appeared no more. How did Julius Caesar die? He was assassinated. One of the most famous assassinations in human history. So the next following stood up and reigned and had a great time. And it happened that when it reigned, the end came also like as the first, so that there appeared no more. Why is it saying the second feather reigned a great time? Because this is Caesar Augustus. Caesar Augustus reigned longer than any other emperor. I think it was almost 40 years. He reigned longer than any other emperor. Look at the prophecies that it's given you. And so it was when he reigned, there appeared no more, and another stood up and reigned, had a great time. Okay, so verse 16, look at what it says about Caesar Augustus. It says, hear thou that hast borne rule over the earth so long, this I say unto you, before thou beginnest to appear no more, there shall none after thee attain unto thy time, neither unto half thereof. So none of these other Caesars from the Augustus dynasty would reign as long as Augustus. This was the man living during the time of the Messiah. All right. So it was Caesar Augustus, Pilate, and then the tetrarchs. King Herod would have been one of the tetrarchs. So then I'm just going to fast forward to why we're here today. What does this have to do with the Iran and America and all of that? So when we skip down to, I have a whole breakdown on this on Priest Genesis mode on my prior channel. All you got to do is look up Esdras Eagle. Ezra's eagle. All right, and we go in detail line by line, but for time's sake, I'm just getting to the point. Okay, here we go. Now, watch this though. Here we let's because this is good. How did Constantine die? How did Constantine die, everybody? How did Constantine die? This is going to give you some vivid prophecy. How did Constantine die? And I'm going to educate you guys on where I'll give you guys a hint and educate you at the same time. How did Constantine die? And the way in which he died created the doctrine called deathbed salvation. Deathbed salvation. He was ill. He was ill. He died on his bed, and they came in there, and damn, I think he was strong enough to get baptized or something. And so this is where you get the deathbed salvation doctrine from Constantine, which I hate. Deathbed salvation. He died 67 years before he, right? Okay, so let's focus on verse 20. No. Yeah. Let's focus on when did the heads wake up? Okay, verse 29. And when they so thought, behold, so when the 8 feathers, they're about to reign now after the 12 feathers. That's the Byzantine Empire. But then look what it says, y'all. And I want somebody to get this. Somebody Google the 2 military generals that Constantine destroyed to become sole ruler. Watch this. You heard it here first on TGC Ministries. You won't hear it nowhere else hereafter. Who are the 2 military generals or attempting to be Caesars, emperors, that Constantine destroyed to become sole ruler? And this is going to give you guys more proof that this is the only book that has these prophecies in detail like this. There we go. Yeah, so I believe it is Licinius and Maximin. So now watch this. In verse 29, when these 8 feathers are about to reign, it says the middle head, which is Constantine, Maxentius. There we go. Maxentius and Licinius. Close enough. So those 2 guys, they're part of the 8 feathers. So it's saying that when they wanted to rise up and rule, the middle head woke up. This middle head is Constantine. Now watch how it says how the middle head ate up those 2 feathers, these guys who wanted to reign. So the middle head woke up, verse 30, and I saw the other 2 heads were joined with it. The other 2 heads are Constantine's 2 sons, Constance and Constantine 1 or 2, I forget. But once we read, you guys will be able to fact check this. That's why it says the heads were joined with it. This is the Constantine dynasty, if you will. And behold, the head was turned with them that were with it, and did eat up the 2 feathers under the wing that would have reigned. So Constantine destroys Maxentius and Licinius. Look at this vivid history it's giving you. When the Lord showed me this, I had chills down my body. The elders didn't show me this. No Israelite showed me this. It's called the Holy Spirit supping with you. You gotta be who you need to be. So now look what it says in verse 32. But this head put the whole earth in fear, Constantine, and bear rule in it over all those that dwell upon the earth, of course, the known earth, with much oppression. And it had governance over the world more than all the wings that had been. You guys don't. Who is the most famous emperor besides Constantine? We talk about Julius. Nobody talks about Augustus and Vespasian like they talk about Constantine. Let's be real. So then the middle head appeared no more, but the two heads remained. Now watch this, y'all. Look up and behold, lo, the head upon the right, okay, side devoured it that was on the left. The head that was on the right devoured him that is on the left. So now I believe that to be, I'm going off the fly here. The middle head was Constantine. The other head, considered one thing. Okay, so on the right side, devoured the one on the left. I think that's Magnentius. So Magnentius killed Constantine's son, and then he killed himself. Because that's what the prophecy says. Magnentius killed Constantine's son, and then he killed himself. Well, how do we know that? Somebody fact check that for me. I'm going to show you Magnentius. It might be one son. No, one killed. It's either Magnentius or one of his sons. One of his sons killed the other, then killed himself. Or Magnentius, I'll spell it for y'all. Magnentius killed one of Constantine's sons and then killed himself. That's what the prophecy is going to say. So y'all can fact check that. Now we have verse 37 is a roaring lion. So now if this is only, so somebody might ask, priests, if this is dealing with the Roman Empire, but it's talking about a roaring lion destroying the eagle, and it tells you in the next chapter that the lion is the Messiah, how can this be talking about ancient Rome? Well, yes, it's talking about ancient Rome, but Rome has an extension. Rome was reborn. Rome was revised. Britain, which is Britannica, was a part of the Roman Empire. Britannica stayed in power, or at least in existence as a nation, and birthed America. So America is literally an extension of Rome. Literally. So look at verse 39. This is what the Messiah is telling the eagle. Are not thou it that remainest of the four beasts? So I want everybody to get that clear. Yes, the 12 Caesars are about the 12 emperors. Yes, the 8 feathers are about the Byzantine Empire, and Constantine, the heads are the Constantine dynasty. But the lion, which is Christ, is rebuking the end of the eagle. The end of the eagle. Somebody said that don't make sense though, because in Revelation, the 10 kings of the beast destroy Babylon, not Christ. Huh? Oh, I get what you're saying. Well, Revelation 19 tells you that the beast, which is America, including NATO, does get destroyed. And it's not just the horns. Let me highlight this. So if you look at Revelation 19, Ananiah, it's the Messiah and his armies going to war with the world powers, mainly NATO, because it says the beast. So America's part of that. So the Messiah does have a hand in destroying America. Now, as far as shooting the missiles on the actual landmass, we believe that that can happen as the chariots are delivering the Israelites out of here, the elect out of here, along with the other nations shooting missiles. But America's military is what's the most important, and that gets destroyed by Christ at Armageddon in Revelation 19. Also, too, you don't want to say only the horns, because it's not going to be only the horns that destroy Babylon. When we see in Jeremiah 51, we see it mentions Turkey, which is one of the horns, but it also mentions Ashkenazi Iran, which is the Medes. I'm sorry, Mini, the kingdom of Mini. And then also it says the Medes, the kingdom of Mini, and then Ashkenaz, which is all Russian territory. So we don't want to say it's only the 10 horns. Those are allies. Those will be other NATO members helping destroy America. All right. Hopefully you got that. So it's talking about the beast destroying the extension of the eagle, which is America. So how does this play into today? Well, we know Iran is what they're going to do, but the fact that the Messiah has to get some blood on his hands, it shows you that, yes, America as a landmass is going to get totally decimated, but their army, their military, they're going to get routed, but also the Messiah is going to have to get some blood on his garments, because we see what he looks like in Revelation 19, vesture dipped in blood. Okay. Now let's go to the next chapter where it gets even more vivid. In the next chapter, he explains more in vivid detail. In vivid detail, watch this. Okay, he's going to start breaking it down. So he tells you, look at verse 14. The eagle is the same that Daniel seen of the 4 beasts. So look, this is how we know that, yes, it's about ancient Rome, but there's an extension of that eagle in 2nd Esdras that the Messiah destroys. So this is the 4th beast. We all know this is dealing with ancient Rome. But then that little horn, which is America, an extension of the ancient Roman Empire. So there's an extension here of the ancient Roman Empire, that's America. And there's an extension here in 2nd Esdras of the eagle, that's America. So let's go down to where the 8 small wings, middle time approaching. Okay, let's talk about the heads. Verse 22 talks about the heads. Verse 23, in his last days shall the Most High raise up 3 kingdoms. This is 3 kings, the heads, and renew many things therein. What was made new? Oh, yes, we got the Western Roman Empire and we got the Eastern Roman Empire now, and we got Christianity. That's how the Roman Empire was made new. And it says they're going to rule with dominion over the earth and much oppression. They're called the heads of the eagles. Verse 25, look at Christianity right here. For these are they that shall accomplish his wickedness and shall finish his last end. What does it mean to accomplish his wickedness? What did the heads do? What did Constantine do? Universalize Satan's most, I know Christians watch me. I've been getting some emails from Christian. They say, oh, priest, you're priest, you're growing and you're maturing and you're not mean anymore and you're nice now. I got to tell you, Christians, something in Christianity. Christianity is right here in 2nd Esdras 12 and 25. And the ancient Roman Empire that God calls Satan and the devil and evil would accomplish that and implement that religion. So Christianity is literally Satan's stronghold on Black people, on brown people, and on all people. Oh, I know. I'm gonna lose, you guys from watching. I gotta keep it real with you guys in that cult called Christianity. That is Satan's stronghold on our people. And it's his strongest and best stronghold. Trust me. You have a better chance, and I've been saying this for decades. You have a better chance. My mom was a drug addict. I was a drug addict when I was born. I'm sure some of you guys can relate. That's the cloth I was cut from. But my mom has been clean and sober and just have accomplished so many things for decades now. And you have a better chance. And she got out of Christianity. Thank God, that was crazy. But you have a better chance of your mama, sister, brother, friend getting off drugs than to getting out of Christianity. That's worse than crack, heroin, Oxycontin, damn, what else? Fentanyl. It's worse than fentanyl. So that's what Constantine, listen, she doesn't eat pork. She doesn't do the holidays. She's just not fully keeping God's law, statutes, and commandments. So let's pray for Mama Bear. So verse 26. And whereas thou sawest the great head appear no more, it signifies that one of them shall die upon his bed, and yet with pain. Didn't I tell you guys to look up how Constantine died? On his deathbed from an illness, which is where you get the deathbed salvation doctrine from. Well, God said that would happen to him. Now you might say, well, when you read 2nd Esdras, we only have a copy from like 200 to 300 AD, so this could have been after the fact. That's not how ancient documents work. These are copies from prior copies, from prior copies, from prior copies, all the way to the original. That's just like saying, how do we know that Moses actually said that to the children of Israel in the wilderness? Because all we have is the oldest Old Testament we have is from 300 BC, the Greek Septuagint. You see how that logic is stupid and it doesn't work? The oldest document doesn't mean that it was written during that time. It just means that's the oldest preserved that we have. Okay? Verse 27. For the two that remain shall be slain with the sword. So both would die. Like I said, I think it's Constance and Magnentius. Magnentius kills Constance, but then kills himself. That's what it says in verse 28. For the sword of one shall devour the other, but at the last shall he fall through the sword himself. You know what? I'm not going to be able to sleep unless I fact check this. Okay. Who killed Constantine's son and then killed himself? No. Constance. I think it's Constance. He killed himself. Okay, so he must have killed Magnentius. Wait, no, that ain't. Okay, you know what? Look, for time's sake, if you want the whole breakdown, line by line, watch Ezra's Eagle Prophecy. Oh, excuse me, on my other channel. But I'm pretty sure that this is Magnentius, which is, he was a military general. They wanted him to become emperor. So watch that, all right? So M killed Constance. Okay. So he killed Constance. Then he must have killed himself. So let me look it up. Did Magnentius kill himself. Yes. Okay, got it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you, my good sir. You're doing all my research for me, brother. So just like the Bible said that one head would kill the other, then kill himself. So Magnentius, one of the heads, killed Constance, and then Constantius too tried to avenge his brother, and then Magnentius didn't want to die, so he killed himself. But that's a cold prophecy. Wow. All right, so then we go down to the roaring lion, verse 31. See, the lion is rebuking the eagle again. But remember, it tells you that the lion is rebuking the remnant, that what remains of the eagle, which today would be the new eagle, the revised Roman Empire, America, NATO, EU. You understand that? Which most of those nations coincidentally have an eagle. Oh, ma'am, excuse me, sister. My apologies, ma'am. I should have known it was a sister because can't no Negro research that fast. What was I thinking? Appreciate you, sister. Says Magnentius, who killed Constantine's son and later committed suicide after losing the throne. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, y'all. So I am starving. I did not know this class was going to take that long. And I know a lot of you guys have so many questions. There's the email, or Tuesday we'll be live again. All right. I got to have a protein shake, a grape, something. And now later, I don't know. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Remember, y'all, set your reminders. We're live Sunday, Tuesdays, Wednesday. We do the Hebrew classes for the free 99. We're paying out of pocket. Don't worry about it. To have the elders come on here and give you guys a true biblical Hebrew. And then, so we got Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Support, learn, feed the sheep, feed the people. Stay away from the drama, stay away from the negativity. Love your brother, love your neighbor. Till next time, peace, blessings, and shalom.